The members of the Nine. We know, of course, there are 9 of them, but now we know each of them individually. Their symbols, planet's gravity they reside in, and their possible personalities too. As we head into the Edge of Fate, we're going to learn more about these characters, and part of that journey begins here today. Welcome, Guardians, let's check out these mysteries. The Nine have appeared in lore cards for a long time. That's where they appeared mostly. Casual players probably didn't even know they existed. Trials of the Nine when Destiny 2 came out was the first big moment when the emissary came into town to test us, teach us about judgment, fate, and death. The lore cards had text from members themselves, and we even heard them speak to the emissary in activities like the Reckoning.
Do you regret this?
What?
Judgment.
I have more agency as an agent than I ever did wielding the light.
You lost everything.
Nothing that ever mattered. I would die for those I love.
You don't understand.
No.
What does it want?
You ask the same questions. You never listen.
Why did it do this?
He's afraid
Of death?
of everything.
So it kills.
He hates violence. He hates it so much that he'll murder anyone who tries to inflict it on him.
Each member of the Nine speaks differently, and this has even been updated over time. For example, older lore cards had Earth speaking with a bunch of periods after text, but now it's just lowercase. So you can see the way the Nine speak in cards and also in the new Rite of the Nine cutscenes. Each one is a different member speaking. Now there is no dialogue, it's just subtitles, but you get to see some of the differences. Each member of the Nine also has their own symbol, some of them in the cutscenes and some seen in early previews of the first mission of Edge of Fate. Also, if you've completed some of the Rite of the Nine stuff and seen the pop-up for the new t-shirt from Bungie Rewards, all these symbols are found on the back of that too. The Nine are noted in Roman numerals, of course, from 1 to 9. It includes all of the main planets in our solar system and then the Sun. So here they are in order. 1. Mercury. 2. Venus. 3. Earth. 4. Mars. 5. Jupiter. 6. Saturn. 7. Uranus. 8. Neptune. And 9. The Sun. These symbols all look pretty cool and were kind of fun to recreate in Photoshop from the t-shirt. To me, in each symbol, the number of rectangles means that number of the 9. So for example, in Jupiter here, number 5, we see 5 different rectangles. You'll see these symbols in the Rite of the Nine cutscenes and also from early gameplay previews from creators. There seems to be interactables in the Edge of Fate where members of the Nine speak. Hopefully there is some dialogue instead of just subtitles for that, but I guess we'll find out. The 9 throughout lore and even in the new Edge of Fate dialogue all speak differently. And from lore hints we can begin to piece together which text belongs to specific members of the 9. Now I did not figure this out. Dobie Rams had a very nice post on this, and Destinypedia has a chart too. The links to those posts can be found down below. The Destiny community does some great work. The way they speak has changed over the years, and we can narrow down most of them and speculate about the last few. So here's how it appears they currently speak. Mercury speaks with a word, a line in between, and then another word. Venus is kind of similar, word, a dash, and then words. Earth appears to speak in lowercase text. Mars begins our journey into the uppercase with uppercase and periods after words and sentences. Jupiter speaks in all uppercase with spaces in between each letter. Saturn speaks in text in all caps. Uranus speaks with a word, a plus symbol in between, and then more words. Neptune is kind of similar in the fact that it's a word, an equal symbol, and words appears to be in lowercase too. And then the Sun, we don't really know, but it could be words like normal sentences. Here are some examples of texts from different members. What we're going to talk about next is not confirmed, but some members of the community have speculated about each of the 9's personalities. Happy Hair 3626 and Hazardous Scald have both made posts about how certain personalities might be linked to these members. The core of this theory stems from the Division Sidearm lore tab from Heresy. Its description says, "An Enneagram tips, poised to shatter." An Enneagram likely refers to the Enneagram of Personality, which is a model of 9 interconnected personality types. This is an actual test you can take in real life. You answer some questions and it gives you one of these personality types it thinks you're closest to. In terms of the lore card, the phrase could be pertaining to the 9 themselves, meaning they're at a tipping point and about to shatter, fall apart, or maybe change their fate. So going by that logic, these couple of posts entertain the idea that maybe these personality types are tied to the 9 themselves. We have Reformer, Giver, Achiever, Individualist, Investigator, Loyalist, Enthusiast, Challenger, and Peacemaker. If you remember back to the Edge of Fate reveals, Bungie said this.
We also know that the Vex are here. They're studying the 9 because turns out the 9 can do something that the Vex can't. as Dave mentioned, the House of Exile are also here. They've become fixated on a being that they call the Giver. And kind of most importantly, the dimensionality on Kepler is really thin. So the 3 dimensions that we can know and see and touch are very close to the realm that the 9 live in. And that means some things from Earth's past have been yanked into Kepler's present.
So that might be another hint that these personality types are spot on. The Elixni looking for something called the Giver. There's also a weapon called Giver's Blessing, so there's that too. Here are the descriptions of the different personality types from a site called Enneagram Institute. Not sure if there's a better place for definitions, but here we go. Although there are 9 personality types, I don't know which one belongs to specific members of the 9. For example, if Mercury or Earth is the Giver, I'm not sure. We might be able to guess given how they interact in different lore cards, but I haven't pieced all that together yet. If you have, let us know in the comments. Reformer personalities are conscientious and ethical, with a strong sense of right and wrong. They are teachers, crusaders, and advocates for change, always striving to improve things, but afraid of making a mistake. They are well organized, orderly, and fastidious. They try to maintain high standards, but can slip into being critical and perfectionistic. They typically have problems with resentment and impatience, so their fear is of being corrupt or evil. Their basic desire is to be good, have integrity, and to be balanced. Next we have the Giver, who are empathetic, sincere, and warm-hearted. They are friendly, generous, and self-sacrificing, but it can also be sentimental, flattering, and people-pleasing. They are well-meaning and driven to be close to others, but can slip into doing things for others in order to be needed. They typically have problems with possessiveness and with acknowledging their own needs. They fear being unwanted, unworthy of being loved, and they desire to feel loved. So if that's true, it's interesting that the Fallen would be looking for somebody like this, unless Bungie put their own sort of spin on it. Achievers are self-asserted, attractive, and charming. Ambitious, competent, and energetic, they can also be status-conscious and highly driven for advancement. They are diplomatic and poised, but can also be overly concerned with their image and what others think of them. They typically have problems with workaholism and competitiveness. They fear being worthless, and their desire is to feel valuable and worthwhile. Individualists are self-aware, sensitive, and reserved. They are emotionally honest, creative, and personal, but can also be moody and self-conscious, withholding themselves from others due to feeling vulnerable and defective. They can also feel disdainful and exempt from ordinary ways of living. They fear that they have no identity or personal significance, and their desire is to find themselves and their significance to create an identity. The investigators are insightful and curious. They are able to concentrate and focus on developing complex ideas and skills. They are independent, innovative, and inventive. They can also become preoccupied with their thoughts and imaginary constructs. They become detached, yet high-strung and intense. They typically have problems with eccentricity, nihilism, and isolation. They fear being useless or helpless, and they want to be capable and competent. Loyalists are the committed, security-oriented type. They are hardworking, responsible, and trustworthy. They are excellent troubleshooters. They foresee problems and foster cooperation, but can also become defensive, evasive, and anxious, running on stress while complaining about it. Their fear is of being without support and guidance. Their desire is to have security and support. Enthusiasts are extroverted, optimistic, versatile, and spontaneous. Playful, high-spirited, and practical. They can also misapply their many talents, becoming overextended, scattered, and undisciplined. They constantly seek new and exciting experiences, but can become distracted and exhausted by staying on the go. Their fear is of being deprived and in pain. Their basic desire is to be satisfied and content, to have their needs fulfilled. Challengers are self-confident, strong, and assertive. Protective, resourceful, straight-talking, and decisive, but can also be egocentric and domineering. Challengers feel they must control their environment, especially people, sometimes becoming confrontational and intimidating. They typically have problems with their tempers and with allowing themselves to be vulnerable. Their fears of being harmed or controlled by others. Their desire is to protect themselves and to be in control of their own life and destiny. And lastly, we have the peacemaker, who are accepting, trusting, and stable. They are usually creative, optimistic, and supportive, but can also be too willing to go along with others to keep the peace. They want everything to go smoothly and be without conflict, but they can also tend to be complacent, simplifying problems and minimizing anything upsetting. Their basic fear is of loss and separation, and their desire is to have inner stability, peace of mind. So there you have the 9 different personality types. There might be better definitions somewhere else out there, but there you have them. And with some of these, I can definitely see connections to members of the 9. Some of them, like Earth in some cards, seem to be sympathetic towards life, for example, given humans reside on this planet. While others say maybe a part of the dark side of the 9 faction, don't really care about any of this life at all, speak about it in disgustful ways in certain lore cards. But anyway, Guardians, that's all we got for today's video. A look at each member of the 9, their symbols, and possible personality types. If you'd like to see some more Destiny news, lore, and mysteries just like this video, please be sure to subscribe to the channel. I thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next video.